When and who started Halloween? The history of Halloween. October 31st, Halloween is known worldwide as the day for parties and dressing up, often seen as an American thing. Many people assume it's just another US holiday, but not everyone knows what Halloween actually stands for. Most are familiar with the American-style Halloween, so let's start there. On October 31st, people carve huge pumpkins with scary faces, put lights inside, and place them outside their houses in the evening. Kids dress up as ghosts, ring doorbells around the neighborhood, and shout trick or treat, which means you have to give them candy, or else. Preparing candy in advance to give to kids has become the standard, at least in the US, and dressing up in scary costumes and putting out carved pumpkins are part of the routine. But what exactly is Halloween about, and what does it celebrate? Well, since we might not be able to go out and enjoy Halloween this year, whether you're hip like me or not hip like you, let's take a look at the origin of Halloween and what it really is. Grab some candy for a cozy night in, and let's dive in. The United States is a country of immigrants, with a complex mix of ethnic backgrounds. Though the majority are of English descent, German ancestry is nearly as common, and Irish descent follows close behind. The large Irish population in the US is mainly due to the Great Irish Famine. The Irish suffered immensely under British rule, and during the famine, they faced severe exploitation. Many had no choice but to escape to the US. Those who survived that journey have descendants that today make up the third largest group among white Americans. Although Irish immigrants initially faced significant prejudice and discrimination in the US, they eventually united, persevered, and established themselves in American society. By the 20th century, they had become influential, with Irish-American presidents among the country's leaders. Their culture and celebrations have also become part of American life, especially in places with large Irish populations like New York and Boston. Some examples are St. Patrick's Day and Halloween. St. Patrick's Day, celebrated on March 17th, honors St. Patrick, who is said to have introduced Christianity to Ireland and is considered the country's patron saint. Green and shamrocks, symbols loved by the Irish, also represent St. Patrick. Initially celebrated by Irish immigrants, St. Patrick's Day has become a fun holiday in the US where people of all backgrounds join in, enjoying a beer or two regardless of religious ties. Halloween, similarly, has roots in Irish Catholic culture. Many Christian sects, including Catholics, Eastern Orthodox, and Anglicans, observe feast days for saints. St. Patrick, for instance, is honored on March 17th. Given Christianity's long history, almost every day of the year commemorates a saint. Some nations even observe these days as national holidays in honor of their patron saints. However, some devout people lived remarkable lives but went unrecorded. Recognizing this, around 1,500 years ago, the Catholic Church declared a festival day to honor all saints, even those forgotten. This celebration, initially in May, was moved by the Western Church to November 1st in the 8th century, and it continues as All Saints' Day. Of course, the day before November 1st is October 31st. With such a major festival, celebrations often started the night before, and this was especially true in Britain, particularly in Scotland and Ireland. The term All Hallows Eve was shortened in medieval Scottish English to All Hallow Even, then to Hallowe'en, eventually becoming the Halloween we know today. Here, Hallow means saint, so Halloween essentially means the evening before All Saints' Day. Now, celebrating the night before a holy day is understandable, but what about carving scary pumpkins and dressing up as ghosts and monsters? Isn't that something Christianity wouldn't be too thrilled about? So how did Halloween become associated with such spooky traditions, seemingly at odds with its religious roots? To understand this, we need to go back a bit further in time. But before that, here's a fun fact for sports fans. You've probably heard of the teams Celtic and Celtics. The Celt here actually refers to the Celts, an ancient warrior people. The Celts once inhabited much of Europe, even sacking Rome on multiple occasions. But they were eventually absorbed by the Roman Empire and pushed out by Germanic tribes. Some managed to survive by fleeing to the farthest edges of Europe, specifically the British Isles. Despite further invasions by Anglo-Saxons, some Celtic heritage persisted, and the Irish and Scottish people are descendants of these Celts. Teams like the Boston Celtics carry this name because Boston has a high Irish population and thus celebrates its Celtic roots. So, what does all of this have to do with Halloween? Well, before Christianity took hold, the Celts had their own mythology and religious customs, such as Druidism. One of their ancient traditions was the Samhain festival, during which they believed the boundaries between the living and the dead blurred as winter began. In preparation, the Celts would wear scary costumes and use frightening symbols to keep spirits at bay. In essence, it was a sort of ghost defense. As Christianity spread through Europe, it often absorbed local traditions to appeal to regional cultures. Samhain was one of these customs, and when All Saints' Day was moved to November 1st, Samhain naturally became the holiday's eve, with All Hallows' Eve incorporating Samhain's ghostly aspects. As for the jack-o'-lantern, it was originally made with turnips by the Irish. When they emigrated to America, they found pumpkins to be cheaper and more available, thus beginning the tradition of pumpkin carving. So there you have it, the origins of Halloween. As for me, I've spent every Halloween indoors, and this year's likely no different. Do you have any special plans for Halloween? Thanks for tuning in to learn about the history of Halloween. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.